never ever to have your jumper on the ground.
I ended up coming up for a practice game and didn't mind it. So 11 years of footy in Euroa started from that one little phone call back in 1987.
The friendships and that sort of thing that you make along the way that really is probably the driver for me.
Has and continues to put us in good stead around, it is about the people, 100% about the people, and success is measured in so many different ways, I think, for our footy netball club.
Where is Euroa?
So it's about 184 k's, I think. You call it north of Melbourne?
In the foothills of the Strathbogie Ranges.
On the Hume Freeway.
If you get to Seymour, keep going straight past there until you find the Euroa turn off, but never stop at Seymour, keep going.
Euroa is a beautiful little town in the Shire of Strathbogie. Lots of gorgeous rolling hills. It is a sleepy little town, I would say, but I say that in a good way. It sort of reminds me of growing up a little bit. It's a lovely place to raise a family, and it feels like a safe place to raise a family, and it's a really tight-knit community where people look out for each other and everyone knows everyone, and you can't get around the supermarket without stopping 100 times and talking to everyone. And that's actually a really nice thing about the town.
Yeah, Euroa's it's an older style town, a lot of older buildings with Ned Kelly history, which everyone talks about, when the bank that Ned Kelly robbed back in the 1800s. But it's a very quiet, older style town.
The small town of Euroa in northeast Victoria was brought to national attention in December 1878 when infamous bushranger Ned Kelly and his gang made their raid on the National Bank of Australasia, making off with £2,000 worth of gold and cash. The bushrangers took numerous hostages at nearby Young Husbands Faithful Creek Station and cut the town's telegraph wires to ensure a clean getaway. The audacious operation unfolded in a highly organised sequence of events over 2 days. Present in the bank during the robbery was recently relocated Geelong banker and renowned footballer Bob Booth, formerly of Geelong Grammar and Geelong Football Club. During the robbery, Booth asked the gang for a souvenir, a keepsake to remember the event, and was given a sixpence and a bullet. Australian rules football was introduced to Euroa in 1879 by the soldiers sent to guard the town after the Kelly gang had sensationally robbed the bank. The first ever football match in Euroa was written about in the Euroa Advertiser, published on Friday, August 2, 1907, and as fate would have it, Bob Booth was mentioned as a player in that very game against soon-to-be long-time rivals Seymour at the Friendlies Oval. The game itself was still finding its feet in the early 1800s, carried by young men, railway workers, town rivalries, and growing social life of the region. By 1884, newspaper reports show the club wore blue and white with a red cap, and matches were often informal, hard to organise, built around whoever could be found to make up the numbers. The club moved between different associations and competitions, sometimes combining with other local sides struggling for numbers. The club bounced between Euroa District Association, North Eastern competitions and Waranga Association. For 4 years during the First World War, organised football in Euroa was effectively put aside. The game returned in 1919, but the club had to rebuild again, with new players, new leaders, and a town trying to return to normal life. The 1920s brought more highs and lows. Euroa missed finals, reformed teams, fought through lean seasons, and then surged again. In 1922, the Magpies won the Waranga North East Premiership. The mid-30s brought one of Euroa's great early eras. Euroa returned to strength, winning premierships in 1934, 1936 and 1937. The 1936 side, led by Ted Rennie, and the 37 team captained by Ken Bell, became part of the club's proud early history. By 1939 and 1940, football across the region was changing under the shadow of the Second World War. Euroa joined the Golden Valley League in 1940, but by July that year, the club had disbanded. For several seasons, football took a second place to the reality of war. When the game returned in the mid-1940s, Euroa again had to rebuild. The district competitions reformed, old names returned, new players emerged. And by 1946, Euroa had again tasted premiership success. By 1947, local football was back on a sure footing, and the Oranga North East League was reformed. The Magpies wasting no time to rejoin the competition that would finally give the club a settled home after decades of shifting leagues, changing associations and uncertain seasons. It marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. By 1950, Euroa was no longer just a town that fielded a football team. It was home to a football club with 70 years of history behind it. A club that had survived wars, lost seasons, protests, mergers, rivalries, premierships, and disappointments. It was fitting that at this time in December 1950, in preparation for a visit from the touring English cricket team, the Oval Euroa Football Club called home was renamed Memorial Oval Euroa.
It's a beautiful ground, a beautiful facility that we have. There's gorgeous gum trees, some beautiful deciduous trees all around.
I see lots of gum trees and as a player here now in my role now at the club, it's a very picturesque ground, and that's, you know, for somebody who doesn't appreciate beauty too much, which is not one of my strengths, it's a great facility. It's a great ground to drive around.
It's just a completely different landscape. You know, every ground in country areas is great, but yeah, you look straight into the ground and you're just looking at the hills, and then, you know, if you're really inquisitive, you can probably hear a little bit of water in the creek over there, and yeah, just the serenity of it. It's an amazing little place, and it's one of the most picturesque grounds, you know, in Victoria.
Everywhere you look around Memorial Oval, there are reminders of the club's rich history. Few are more significant than the famous scoreboard, which in 2019 was fittingly renamed the Dick O'Brien scoreboard. Dick O'Brien was one of the great figures of the Euroa Football Club, a player, coach and prolific goal kicker who played a key role throughout the premiership years of the 1950s and 60s. The O'Brien name remains woven into the fabric of the club today. Just beyond the scoreboard, on the netball courts, Dick's granddaughter Megan has gone on to play more than 400 games for the Magpies. She still remembers the day the scoreboard was renamed and the memories it brought flooding back.
I don't know, probably a proud moment for the whole family, like in terms of that. Now you're going to make me upset. You'll have to cut this part out, won't you? Yeah, just in terms of, like, obviously Dick's passed away now, and Nancy as well. But yeah, I remember when it, you know, got unravelled and stuff, and I got to stand up here with Pop. And yeah, it was just a nice memory and a nice moment. And yeah, the whole family was here. So all the, you know, cousins and uncles and aunties and things like that. And I know Nan after it, like once we sort of the next day or whatever, said how proud Pop was, and that all the family were there and the grandkids and things like that as well, and that we were, yeah, all there and all, you know, then standing there watching the footy with him afterwards. Obviously they're both passed now, but yeah, it's just a really nice touching thing for the whole family, I think.
Whether it be the scoreboard, the grandstand, the gates, or the gum trees, it's not only infrastructure that's famous at Euroa's Memorial Oval.
Famous Henry's hot dogs on the hill.
They're famous, aren't they?
They are renowned.
Yeah, old Henry, you know, that's another well-known family back in the day, like Henry and Lorraine Billman and Johnny Billman running around out on the field and things like that.
Johnny Billman over in Shepparton now, and you know, he misses his parents terribly. And
Shout out to Henry and Lorraine Billman, may they both rest in peace there. I was privileged to teach with Lorraine up at Euroa Secondary College. I knew Henry as a player, and to have hot dogs in Euroa, to have such wide-ranging renown. I think the Could Have Been champions might have had one there several years ago and said these are the best hot dogs in country Victoria.
The fresh rolls, the old copper pot, the little flame that goes underneath it, and you just hope that, especially if you're playing that midday game, you hope that when you walk off that field, it hasn't been absolutely smashed by supporters. You actually get a chance to get over there, get yourself a hot dog, cost you $5, you can get with a lot or with not. Sit down, and I tell you what, there's a lot of blokes that go the double dog and it fills them up for the afternoon.
it's funny because obviously I played a lot of seniors and didn't get a chance. But then when Paul O'Brien dropped me one week and I had to play first game of seconds ever, I thought, I can't wait till just finish the game, straight there, have a can on the hill and have a hot dog. I thought, oh mate, I'm happy to play seconds the rest of my life. This is sensational.
And although the scoreboard has ticked over for close to 150 years, and the hot dogs have been served up for just as long, these things don't just happen. It takes an army of volunteers, week in, week out, season after season, to make sure that this club operates smoothly.
I found over the years that although our constitution might allow us to have as many as 20 on a committee, 10 to 12 committee are just the right mix, 10 to 12 human beings. What that means is for every committee person on a match day I would have 5, 6, as many as 10. So we would have 60, 70, even 100 volunteers if we've got a social function, putting together what goes into getting ready for game day itself, through to stumps after a social function.
Since I've retired, a lot of people, say to me, who was the best footballer you've seen or played with or played against? I tend to not answer that. I say, I'm more interested in who's the best volunteer or the best club person I've seen around, because without them sort of people, you won't have your football club. And Scotty Watson is exactly the sort of person we're talking about, who volunteers from the minute the gate opens at 9 o'clock in the morning till he closes the club rooms at midnight on Saturday night, and he's doing something every minute of the day. And I think these sort of volunteers, without the club, without having them, the clubs will really struggle. And that's I think they're more important than having good players, because without the volunteers, the good players won't be required, because you won't have a football club.
And not even on game day, actually. There's so much work that goes on during the week. I'm pretty busy at the netball, right from the under 15s through to A grade at the moment. So I don't actually have a lot of time to spend around the rest of the ground because I'm otherwise occupied over there. But even over there, I can certainly speak to the likes of Felicity Watson, for example, who will hate that I've just mentioned her name, but she does so much work behind the scenes. For no thanks or no praise, she just gets it done. Anything that we need, she is on top of all the time. Taylor Robinson is another one, a great young volunteer, gives so much of her time, her expertise. She just is constantly, a workhorse for the club behind the scenes. And then yes, your other characters. Pearso's obviously one of everyone's favourites. I don't know how long he's been timekeeping for. I'm pretty sure forever. But he always comes in for a beer in the rooms after the game and has a good catch up. And there's lots of amazing volunteers. Scott Watson, he's obviously our president, but just the level of work he's put into the club over such a long period of time, and the change that I guess we've seen under his guidance. Again, I go back to this comment, good people, and he's really is one of the very best. Yeah.
And it takes it takes a little army, doesn't it, to run a footy club, and particularly these days, I'd say, with the professionalism and what comes with it, and the players, the netball, the footy, all the juniors, etc., etc. So it takes a a whole army of people to, like as we said earlier, to man the gate, to umpire, to be on the scoreboard and the timing, you know, team managing, like you name it, they've got to do it. And it's, you know, similar people that put their hand up year in, year out, whether it's behind the scenes that you don't really notice that they're actually doing it, or, you know, Watto was the president for God knows how many years now, but the amount of work that he does, you know, not only behind the scenes, but, you know, on the Thursday night, on the game day, doing the running, all of this other stuff to make the club what it is. And I think it's people like that and that get involved and that volunteer that really makes it easier for us players to be able to turn up and play, but also creates the environment and the culture that we have.
Off the field, volunteers and people behind the scenes making the club operate was a mainstay. But with their new home in the Warringah North East League, the Euroa Football Club also had some prominent figures making sure that success on the field was also achieved.
In 1955, Les Reed used to have a training session down here with us kids who couldn't make the seconds, and the 10 or a dozen of us come down for a run of a Wednesday night. Then we progressed into the seconds, and we used to get some terrible hidings. In 56, then a lot of us sort of stuck together and success started. They won a premiership in 57, and I was lucky enough to beat them one in 58.
After tasting success multiple times in the 1950s, Euroa's short downturn was halted by a prelim final appearance in 1962, and the club stocks rose sharply. The ultimate success was not far away. Euroa returned to prominence, winning the 1963 Senior Premiership. This was followed in 1964 by what was coined Euroa's Grand Slam season, winning the 3 premierships, first, seconds and third grades. What followed was many years of success through the 60s, where the Euroa Magpies were the most fierce, competitive and successful team in the Warringah North East Association.
Oh, well, they mean a lot, and you're playing with all your mates, and to win that 63, 4 and 5 under Dick O'Brien, a great leader, a great footballer, and everyone, he just had the team gelling together and were very, very successful.
You don't have to look far throughout the Euroa Football Netball Club social rooms to see the dominance of the 1950s and 60s era. The way in which they're remembered was brought about by some alternative methods.
That first honour board up there, that was financed, but we caught rabbits, and a fellow by the name of Kevin Peel was working to Jura, and he was selling to the Italians over there. I think we're getting 30 bob a rabbit, which is a lot of money those days. I think we got 100 quid, and that put up the first honour board there.
The success in the 1960s generated some resentment across other teams in the Warringah North East League, and it culminated in the late 60s in what would be one of the biggest decisions in the club's history.
Well, it got fairly bitter in the Warringah North East. They all sort of become anti-Euroa, and that sort of led the push to go somewhere else. And we had a pretty good team, and we thought we were going to be competitive, which we were, and that was the time to move. I think the kingpin was, I think Euroa played Seymour in a very, very wet spring, and they sent us over to Yea, and the Avenel ground, which is a very, very good wet weather ground, was vacant, and that was literally the turning point to go to the Goulburn Valley.
After its first attempt to join the GVL was interrupted by war, and after a dominant period in the 60s, it was time again in 1971 to join the GVL, where it still competes today.
So Goulburn Valley League, you're exactly right, it is one of the premier competitions. I think footy and netball.
It's close enough to Melbourne, I suppose, to attract really good players as well. So, you know, back in the sort of 80s, 90s, you always had 2 or 3 players from Melbourne coming up here as well. So it was a real attraction.
The GV League was always considered that elite standard, that echelon above, and something to aim for. If you were talented at footy or netball, if you could step into the GV League, that was, you know, really probably one of the, you know, the most elite competitions outside of metropolitan Melbourne. So being involved in the GV League is such an enormous privilege, but an enormous challenge, especially for small towns.
So Euroa, 3,000 people, probably one of the smallest towns competing in Golden Valley League, and I think it's credit to our community that we're able to compete in this league and compete across 5 netball and 3 footy sides.
Continuing on from its premiership success in the 1960s, Euroa entered the GVL in 1971 with great success. A sign that the small country town was here to be taken seriously. However, the town would soon come to realise it wouldn't be all smooth sailing, and by the early 80s would face some of its toughest times and decisions.
It might have been back in the early 80s when the Euroa were struggling in the Goulburn Valley. There was a meeting called by the hierarchy of the Goulburn Valley. Barry Conley was the league president at the time. Keith Wellman was the secretary of the league, and they were. There was some talk that Euroa may be leaving the Goulburn Valley, or best if they left the Goulburn Valley and went to. It was called the Tungamar League then. There was a public meeting as such, and that was a very important meeting for the town, and it was almost unanimously so. We've got to stop in the Goulburn Valley and just grind ourselves through the period we're going through. That we didn't have to leave the Goulburn Valley just because we're struggling at that period. As I said, that it ebbs and flows, the fortunes of the football club. And fortunately, we voted as a community. We voted to stop in the Goulburn Valley, and it was within 10 years we'd won a premiership. So
Euroa probably meandered right through to that sort of 6th to 8th, 9th area for a few years there. And 87, I think we finished the same, maybe 6 wins. An ironic thing in 87, we had 2 draws in a row, which is pretty freaky. So I think we ended up on 6 wins and a couple of draws. 88 we improved a bit, then 89 we made finals. I think we finished 5th, and that was the beginning of probably 1990, which is our last premiership, but that sort of came from nowhere. We didn't really start favourites. We didn't know where we were headed that season, and winning I think the first 2 or 3 games sort of gave us the impetus to go on and win that flag.
Mid-season, we anticipated or recognised that we had a chance of winning a premiership. We perhaps thought we may have to top it up a little bit, so we got 2 players outside Euroa in Dean Lupson and Gary Conn, and that was probably what we needed to win the premiership, and that was probably a difference if we hadn't have got them 2 outsiders. But it just proves that perhaps, it's difficult to win a premiership with purely local players only. So sometimes you need to go outside and just pick up a couple of additional players, what you need just to take you to premiership glory.
And that's it, bowls the grand final, and it comes down to Euroa has won the grand final 18-13, 121 to 16 goals, 104, and Vicky's holding the record up, saying I'm the greatest pitcher in Australia, because I'd say 3,000 Rochester fans, Euroa fans out there are absolutely ecstatic.
To the supporters of Euroa and all those people in Euroa who stood behind this football club for 19 years, this cup is yours. Use it with pride.
We didn't know where we were. I don't think we'd recruited that well in 1990, and we lost Andrew Knowles, probably our equal to our best player with Kev, to Violet Town, so we didn't really have any expectations. And I remember Euroa coming back to me, because I didn't play in 88, I stayed in Melbourne. So it was Kevin and Norm Murphy that got me, and I think I said, we've got another bloke here that's looking to come up, and David Porter-Moores, he's very similar to me, a bit tougher than me, but he's looking at the club. And so Porter had a chat to me, and I said, I don't know, mate, I don't know where we're going to be. I think we're going to be roughly around the mark, probably 5th to 8th again. He said, oh, Rochi, chasing me. They reckon they're going to be good. I said, well, go there.
Steve from Rochester, who gets hand the ball and he punches it down to Putamorsi, but he's very well tackled by Harvey.
And bizarrely, we end up playing him in the grand final, which is, one of my greatest moments playing for Euroa, but one of my regrets that I had to play against Putter in that game as well.
Yeah, I was very fortunate in 1990. I had a great selection committee, and being a playing coach, I left a lot of the match day decisions to my selection committee, and they ran it from the bench. Boxer Brody, Johnny Cornish, and John Pearson were on the bench. They made a lot of decisions on match day and left my role as a playing coach to be more on hands on the field rather than making decisions and making moves from the ground.
Oh, look, massive. The town, as you know, it's small and we're all connected. The Football Netball Club connects everyone to this town. Like, everyone used to come here on a Saturday, and it was great, for everyone just to have that one spot where we could all meet and have a great time. Obviously it's a long time ago now, but I just remember after the game, I think we played a Sunday, so no one would have gone to work on the Monday. We blocked off the main street. Noel Hussey, the reporter, came over to Mandy's and had a sort of, we're going to shave his head, but I think we put a bit of a sculpt thing on him and pretend to shave his head. But the whole town it just seemed the whole place was alive. And
yeah, it was a great boost for the football club. It'd been a long drought, and it was the club really needed it. The township really needed it to keep the enthusiasm going. As I said, the club's fortunes come and go and ebb and flow. We had that window of opportunity in that 2 or 3 years to win a premiership, and as I said, we were fortunate enough to win a premiership. You need a lot of things to go your way. You need a lot of luck, and in that year, we did.
And ebb and flow the club did. Over the next 35 years, the club had tough years, great years, and everything in between, including more grand final appearances, where they fell agonisingly short.
Yes, so I was captain of the side that year, had been captain for a while. Really exciting. What an exciting time. I look back on it with, as they say, bittersweet memories. The actual year itself was outstanding. Dave Gleeson was our coach. Dave's coached us a few times. That was obviously his most successful period. So the game itself, I must admit, I watched it back once on the DVD and turned it off halfway through the last quarter. I didn't want to watch the last little bit. So to be brutally honest, there's a lot of scarring there, and I think again, glass half full, there's a lot of scarring there because it means so much to get that ultimate success. And I've spoken to lots and lots of footballers, previous footballers since, particularly retired ones who've had a bit of success. And one of them particularly said to me, Scott, their grand finals are really hard to get into. They're even harder to win.
In 2022, after some interrupted years due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Euroa regrouped and once again found themselves with an opportunity at grand final glory against heavy favourites Echuca.
It was us and Echuca all year, and no one probably gave us a chance in that game, which we loved, sort of thing. We were sort of the underdogs, and all the finals leading up to that, the 3 finals, we played really good footy. We played one bad game where we lost to Echuca by 70 points, but other than that, we won pretty comfortably. And then just heading into the day, the lead up, town's buzzing, Tuesday, Thursday night, it was bloody awesome, big crowds coming to watch training. You get everyone down from Melbourne, all the players, on that Thursday night before the game. And then just the sad day, honestly, a bit of a blur.
I was proud of Euroa that day because I didn't think they'd get anywhere near Echuca. And I think Echuca kicked the first 3 or 4 goals and thought, this could be, I'll watch till half time, and if it's the game's too far gone, I won't watch it. But that last quarter when they hit the front, I thought there's a miracle here. And once again, just come up against the side too good on the day. But the Seymour one hurts a bit more because I thought we were the better side going into that game. Echuca one, I thought they were the better side going into that game.
Yeah, as I said, to win a premiership, you need a lot of luck and you need everything to go your way. And look, in both occasions, on them 2 occasions and runner-up, we were desperately unlucky. We were desperately unlucky in one particular. That could have been, and there was a difference between winning a premiership and losing a premiership. As I said, that's why they're so precious. That's why we enjoy playing in them, because they're so hard to come by.
Often understated and overlooked pieces of success are reserves grade premierships. Often made up of lifelong players as well as emerging talent coming out of the juniors. Reserves grade premierships can gel clubs together more than anything else. And in 2014, that's the opportunity Euroa had.
2014 was, I was 45, I turned 45 that year, so you're right about older guys and younger guys. In fact, one of the boys who's one of my premiership teammates is playing senior footy still, Zach Gleeson. So Zach was a young fella there in that year as well. So 2014 was a great year, really wonderful. Guy Morford's coaching us. In the years post winning the premiership, I think even 3 or 4 years ago, and it may have been around about the pandemic time or just after, I actually pulled over the side of the road one time and I thought, I just sent him a text message, as much as that means, just to say, thanks very much for, arguably giving me the highlight of my footy career in terms of success. So winning a premiership is winning a premiership. A reserve grade premiership, I loved it, loved being involved in that side. The badges that we were. For that grade of footy, that grade of sport, that was the best side I played in for the level that I was playing in.
After the initial glory of an A-grade premiership in 1983, the club found continued success on the netball court very hard to come by. Not by wanting or trying, or by the effort put in those tasked with such a feat, but competing against large communities was always a tough ask. This was to change with the appointment of Kelly Hill to coach the A-grade netball team in 2010. Fresh from a best on court performance in Shep United's 2009 A-grade premiership victory, this was to signify an ongoing increased commitment to Euroa's most loyal netballers, young and old, that better days were on the horizon.
We are a footy netball club. We may, over a period of time, have been guilty of not putting enough time and energy and effort into our netball side of things. So to that end, we made a conscious effort of trying to attract the right people.
It's not just about getting the best netballers, it's actually about getting the best people. And that's the more important part of the equation, actually. And that's something that we think is really important, and we think that is the reason why we have such a cohesive group, because actually the people are really good people.
The highlights are probably the 2019 B-grade grand final. So that was the first grand final we'd won since, that earlier 80s A-grade grand final sort of thing. So, or premiership that we had. That was definitely, a memorable year, and the B-grade premiership and just how the whole club, whether that's supporter base, previous players, etc., got around that. That was, pretty awesome. And then more recently, just the success across the whole club. So, A-grade right down to our juniors in the under-17s and under-15s, been able to sort of create a really strong junior pathway as well. So the 2024, when we had the A and B grade premierships, and the B reserve also playing off in the prelim final that year, that sort of success is really, really good, and it goes to attracting people and people coming back and things like that, wanting to be a part of it. I think the junior development's probably the other side of things in terms of, the work that Kelly Hill and Taylor Robinson have done now over a number of years. We're sort of seeing the fruits of the labour, as they say, in terms of the quality of the girls and the standards, their understanding of sort of, gameplay and strategy and things like that. And it translates across now to really competitive teams and wins on the board for the juniors.
So developing our junior program, it's not something that just happens in February when we start the season proper training. It's we're planning ahead now for next year. We're often trialling, sort of training and trialling by October the year before. And we open those early pre-season trainings up to everybody. So any juniors that might want to step into our programs, we open it up to them a little bit earlier. And the benefit of that is that it actually helps them settle into the expectations as well and the standards as well, so that they're not just turning up necessarily at trials really nervous and really anxious about that process. So yeah, we are investing early in that. But it even happens much earlier than that. So the Junior Footy Netball Club, the changes that they've made over the course of the last couple of years, we are benefiting enormously from their positive changes that they've made with their netball program. So it was a tricky move at the time, but they shifted their netball over to the SNA junior program, which has meant that they've been able to radically expand the numbers of teams that they can enter. But it also means that those girls get opportunities to play in squad netball and develop their game even before GB level, so throughout the junior club. So huge credit has to go to the junior club. I think they've got something like 9 junior teams playing in the SNA comp this year, which is fantastic. Like, it's just so many more than the traditional 3 or 4 teams that were possible in the league prior. So it means we've got more girls playing netball, more opportunities for development. They're getting invited into squads, so they're getting extra specialist coaching before they even get to us. So as I said, it's years of work actually that happened before they even come to us. And as I said, I think it's no accident that we're seeing our juniors really thriving at the moment, but a lot of that is the work that the junior club have done beforehand.
There are times when you're exactly right, more than half the senior footy side is made up of 2 or 3 sets of brothers.
There's something special about playing with a sibling, playing with a brother. Just knowing that you've kicked footies in the backyard from when you're 5 years old to now, and you're running around in a pretty decent league trying to win games of football. It's something that I think we have to be proud of and appreciate that it has gone back a long way. And I know that there's probably other families that have multiple generations that have been involved in the club too, so it's pretty special.
It's awesome. I remember, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, we had 5 brothers in the same side. So I think that's sort of what you got to build clubs around as well, is sort of your local and keeping everyone sort of together. But yeah, it's awesome being able to, because Nate's down in Melbourne, I'm here, so I guess like every Saturday playing together for the last sort of 3 or 4 years. Yeah, it's awesome. It's something that I enjoy doing every week, and it sort of makes it easier coming back every year when you're playing with like all your best mates. Like, we've grown up playing footy together, which just makes it so easy. Like, if you look at the side at the moment in the past few years, like, we've all gone through the juniors together, under 18s, and now playing seniors together.
Yesterday, our player points system. We fielded a side yesterday that had 22 points. Every player was a 1-point player. That doesn't mean every player is a local player, but what it does mean is that almost every player started out as a 1-point player, and again, that's testament to this community, which I think we're probably not underselling the junior pathways and the importance of those junior pathways. So go back to connection with Auskick, connection with the Junior Footy Netball Club. It is so important because they're the ones who are going to, hopefully provide our netballers and footballers in the years to come.
Well, I dropped a grandchild down here about 3 weeks ago, one Wednesday night, and this ground here, I reckon there were 70 or 80 kids out there kicking the footy, and there would have been a heap of girls over the netball court. I reckon the future's rosy.
Yeah, I remember like as a kid and that, like when I was sort of coming with my old man, 10, 12, you watch the seniors and you're like, oh, you're just in awe of them, sort of thing. Like, it is just country football, but as a kid, like, that's all you sort of want to do when you grow up. And being a local, like, I can't see anywhere else but playing for Euroa Football Club, and you just want to, like, the blokes like Watto and Bamf, you just sort of want to keep doing that, play as many games as you can for the footy club.
Oh yeah, definitely idolised them, and there were some brilliant footballers here too. Like a fellow, Wally Nash, he went on and played league football. A fellow by the name of Neil Curry, he was an outstanding footballer. He went on to Benalla and Myrtle. I think he might have won an Ovens and Murray Best and Fairest. But and those are the fellas that you looked up to and idolised, and they're the ones you wanted to be.
And one thing for certain, that growing up a young Euroa footballer or netballer, there will always be a place to follow in the footsteps of our local heroes and add another chapter to the generations before you.
To live and work in this town, to relocate from Melbourne, to find football, I think I've just been blessed in that. To marry a local girl who, Felicity's been involved with this footy netball club for many, many more years than what I have. Her netball journey as a player is far different to our daughter's netball journey so far. I know she enjoyed playing netball, but the success on the court was few and far between for her and for people in that particular era. So as parents, for us to have the opportunity to have our boy and our two girls play footy for this footy netball club, netball for this footy netball club, is something we don't take for granted. It is very central to our family, as you can imagine. It's if the conversations aren't involved around the footy netball club for 60 or 70% under our roof at the moment, I'd go he. That's great, because I think, and as somebody who continues to, have the privilege of being president here, I 100% still am in debt to this footy netball club, because it allowed me to find football. It also allowed me to connect with so many human beings in the community. People who are still here in this community and people who are living away who come back to this community. And again, trying to keep it as simple as I can, I am delighted that my kids get the opportunity to experience that as well.
When I came here, for the first time in my life, Trent, I become someone, and that was really intriguing to me. And I walked into a country club and had no idea who anyone was or what this town was. And within probably 6 months, I felt like I was someone. People wanted to talk to me. People wanted to say, hey, you're actually pretty good, you can play. And I'd never been told that in my life. So all of a sudden, I've become important. And I still think to this day, Trent, the Euroa Football Netball Club made me who I was. It made me successful in life, made me successful in footy, and I would never have got that opportunity, I don't think. Maybe I would have, but I think just having people ring you and say, come here for dinner tonight. We're doing this, we're doing that. I think, I don't know these people. And Paulie and I were just besotted by all these families that just took us in and made us someone. And I still say now, I can go to job interviews and be confident, because Euroa made me a leader in a very short space, and that was something that I wasn't used to. So I owe everything, I believe, in my life to this place here, because I was a nothing. I was really no one in Melbourne, and I become someone and someone important in this town. And yeah, just absolutely loved it, and yeah, made lifelong friends in a short period of time, and can't praise this place enough.
Yeah, look, it's the local football club is a heartbeat of the town. I mean, once you lose your football club, it just takes so much out of a small country town. A lot of people live to come to their footy club on Saturday afternoon, to come down and watch their local club play, or even come down during the week and watch them train. And it's to lose a country football club, as some small country towns have seen in the past. It just takes a lot of the interest and enthusiasm out of the people around the township itself.
No, it's not going to fold. You and I will take over, mate. If it's about to fold, we'll do something to make sure it stays here.
There's still a lot of people from back, when I started playing 30 years ago, that are still around us, whether it's supporters coming down to watch, or even just down the street catching up with you about how the club's going and things like that. So I think it is that, if there's people out there and they've not been, back or down to watch or been a part of it, come down and grab a hot dog, sit on the hill and watch the footy, or come across and watch the netball and just get back involved, come down to the Thursday night meals, or yeah, we'd welcome anyone to come back and just be around it and be a part of it. You don't necessarily have to, do a job or volunteer or be on the committee, etc., but it's just a good vibe and a good place to be around. So come down on a Thursday night or a Saturday and just be a part of it.